I'm just clicking his Twitter profile here. So he's apparently the... Okay, since go back to that last video, I was basically reading a CP24 article that was talking about Canada rescinding the digital services tax. In the article, they had quote tweeted the finance minister, the Honorable Francois Philippe Champagne. I'm just reading his name. He had made the announcement and put a link to, I'm assuming, is a press release from the Department of Finance Canada. So yeah, it's a news release. So I just wanted to read the news release. So I'm going to get out the way so you can follow along with the words on the screen. Okay. Canada rescinds digital services tax to advance broader trade negotiations with the United States, from the Department of Finance Canada. News release, June 29th, 2025. Ottawa, Ontario, Department of Finance Canada. Canada's new government is engaged in complex negotiations on a new economic and security partnership with the United States, focused on getting the best deal for Canadian workers and businesses. Prime Minister Carney has been clear that Canada will take as long as necessary, but no longer, to achieve that deal. To support these negotiations, the Minister of Finance and National Revenue, the Honorable Francois Philippe Champagne, announced today that Canada would rescind the digital services tax in anticipation of a mutually beneficial comprehensive trade arrangement with the United States. Consistent with this action, Prime Minister Carney and President Trump have agreed that parties will resume negotiations with a deal towards agreeing... Sorry, let me read that again. Consistent with this action, Prime Minister Carney and President Trump have agreed that parties will resume negotiations with a view towards agreeing on a deal by July 21st, 2025. We're now reading the last paragraph that comes through here, the last paragraph on the screen. The digital sales tax was announced in 2020 to address the fact that many large technology companies operating in Canada may not otherwise pay tax on revenues generated from Canadians. Canada's preference has always been a multilateral agreement related to digital services taxation. While Canada was working with international partners, including the United States, on a multilateral agreement that would replace national digital services taxes, the DST was enacted to address the aforementioned taxation gap. All right, hold on. Let me pull up the second part of the article. All right, guys, I'm back. I screenshot this in a way where the rest of the article is there, but we're starting here. Okay, so the June 30th, 2025 collection will be halted, and Minister Champagne will soon bring forward legislation to rescind the Digital Services Tax Act. Quotes, in our negotiations on a new economic and security relationship between Canada and the United States, Canada's new government will always be guided by the overall contribution of any possible agreement to the best interests of Canadian workers and businesses. Today's announcement will support a resumption of negotiations towards the July 21st, 2025 deadline set out at this month's G7 Leaders Summit in Kananaskis. The RT, I don't know what RT stands for, my bad. The RT, Honorable Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada. Canada's new government is focused on building the strongest economy in the G7 and standing up for Canadian workers and businesses. Rescinding the digital services tax will allow the negotiations of a new economic and security relationship with the United States to make vital progress and reinforce our work to create jobs and build prosperity for all Canadians. The Honorable Francois Philippe Champagne, Minister of Finance and National Revenue. Okay, guys. So that was a mouthful. I feel like Mother Goose over here. Let me just quickly look up RT, because I know somebody's going to be a comment. You don't know what RT means. You're stupid. What does RT stand for? Oh, the Right Honorable. Okay, so it's an honorific. Okay. So it's an honorific style traditionally applied to certain people and collective bodies in the United Kingdom, former British Empire, and the Commonwealth of Nations. Okay, so the term is predominantly used today as a style associated with the holding of senior public positions in the United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, and to a lesser extent, Australia. Okay, that was Wikipedia. So figure that's safe enough. Yeah, so, okay. As I said before, I just wanted to see what this article said. If the plan is to rescind the tax with the intention of discussing the tax and discussing how they can incorporate it into the New Deal, I can maybe work with this. If it's, okay, we're going to take it off the table and we're just never going to mention it again and we'll go through trade negotiations, but we'll never talk about this gap in taxes, because the reality is Trump is out here talking about how we're taking so many subsidies from him, we're putting so much tariffs on him and his people, but then he has businesses, internet businesses, running in our country, and they're not paying taxes off of the revenue that they're making in our country. So it looks like we're both sides are losing some money here. So we'll see how this goes. I'm not convinced this was the best move for Canada to make. But at the same time, as I've said in previous videos, Canada took way too long to build trade relations with other nations, to build any kind of trade economy. And right now we are running behind. And right now America is our largest trading partner and pretty much almost our only trading partner at this point. And so they kind of have us by the cojones, and they can kind of just do whatever they want to us. And we just kind of have to take it. And it's really sad to see. So I don't know. I don't really have a thought on this. I will wait and see what happens. But I think conceding at this time is, while I understand he did it to move the conversation forward, I'm not sure we're going to like the result at the end. And I have a feeling we're just going to be in an ongoing trade war with the United States for the next coming months, if not years. Canada, I hope that Carney will take some time and actually build trade relationships outside of the United States and India, thanks to Trudeau ruining our relationship with India. Hopefully we can find some, like, to me, I don't even know if I like to say this out loud, but I would almost start to look at some of the enemies of the United States and start building trade relationships with them. Like right now, the United States has been very, very aggressive towards China. If I was Carney, I would go meet with Xi Jinping and see what kind of trade relationship we can start to build if they're going to lose market share in the United States. Anywhere where Trump is throwing crazy tariffs. I mean, I don't really like the Chinese government and what they're doing, but I do think there's a little bit of value in that saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? And right now, the United States is showing itself to be an enemy to Canada, at least with the Trump administration. And so I would take a look at other foreign governments, what they can offer, any governments that are currently being squeezed by the United States, and try to broker deals in the back end and see what we can do. But then again, guys, I'm not a finance person. I'm not an economics person. I am a lay person just running my mouth. But feel free to correct me. Feel free to give me feedback, and we'll see what happens. But this isn't looking good to me. To me, we are looking like the weak party coming to the negotiation table, and I'm not liking this. And this whole situation with Trump and his constant attacks on Canada, whether or not we should be the 51st state, whether or not we should all of a sudden be paying ridiculous tariffs that we've never had to pay before. Meanwhile, his people, his businesses can come into our country and rake the profits in without having to pay any taxes on it. I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this at all. And I think that this doesn't bode well for our country. And this doesn't bode well for our trade relations. And I think slowly but surely, we as Canadians need to start looking elsewhere for our entertainment, for our fashion, for our food, for whatever we can do to pivot outside of the American economy. That's my personal thought on it. I'll do my best here and there, and I'll see how far I get. But yeah, I'm not liking this. I don't think this bodes well for us. Yeah.